Hello, I have another illuminating idea. The Philips Hue lighting system with the starter kit is on the table today. I will be going through the process of looking at each component, setting them up, and then, as always, giving some electrical testing to see what kind of power performance we have. I think smart bulbs are an interesting new category into the market. There are tons of cheap and not so great options out there, and when I looked at the IKEA bulb several weeks ago, I found that it was actually quite well made and had a reasonably good power data. I will check the Philips system to see how it compares and look at the economics of the idle power of these systems. If you are new here, welcome to the channel, where I take an advanced look at the electrical properties and technology in the products you buy. The videos get technical, so hang on and always ask questions if you don't understand something. If you want to help out the channel, see the links on my webpage or in the description. Patreon is now live, as well as the super button. Thanks to my current patrons and channel supporters. Okay, let's get into this rather large box. I'm not really sure what to expect, but in general, unboxing process was fairly painless. I noticed there weren't any plastic peels and actually a distinct lack of any plastic at all. Not bad, Philips. The first layer, we find 3 bulbs. Not much of a surprise here. Dig a little deeper and we find the bridge and its power adapter. A little deeper yet and we find a button and a user manual can be found. This is the whole lot. The button does have a tiny battery, CR2032, but it does come with one installed. The bridge, thankfully, has an Ethernet port, so this saves the time from having to deal with wireless network settings. I knew going in I'd have to get the app, but we will get into that a little bit later. So on first look at these lights, I see something I like. The bulbs themselves have safety listings on them from Underwriter's Laboratory. This is great. The power adapter comes with the bridge, probably has the most safety listings I've seen on a product in a long time. This is made to be used universally all over the world, so it looks like they've got that covered. The box has a bunch of user manuals. They are of limited value. I looked through each of these and mostly started to get very discouraged that this is going to be a difficult process and only the highly technically inclined would be even dream of tackling hooking the system up. They should just have a few steps, and even a quick start guide didn't really tell me to do anything, all 2 pages of it. I mean, screw in the light bulb, plug in the hub to Ethernet and power, download the app, follow on-screen instructions. That should be in the box. Plugging in the bulb, and no surprise, it powers right up and swamps the camera. Testing LED bulbs is difficult. I'm going to move that out of the way so we can look at a pairing and setting up of the LED bulb. Playing around with the button without the hub plugged in, and it doesn't work without the hub. The button doesn't know what to do, and the bulbs don't communicate with the button. It was a nice try, but it looks like the bridge is required. It also looks like the pair button is on the back, whereas the LED indicating whether it's working or not is on the front again, so not a creature comfort here. So I went ahead and downloaded the app and proceeded to get into 100 pages of incomprehensible legal speak. Not a fan of this. I did, as the process got going, start to like how Philips did this though, much more than other companies. The app appears, on the surface at least, to have more transparency, but is still a smart device, so assume your information is getting sold whether you like it or not. Okay, the next thing that happened was, wait more, time to do updates. This was actually a good thing. The bridge was found, and it knew it needed to get new firmware onto the bridge. It is good that the manufacturer is providing firmware updates. Hopefully, this continues for a long time and the product doesn't become a brick. Okay, so now on to some technical bits. First, let's look at the power adapter performance. This thing is dismal. It is a big plastic case, and it looks like they didn't want to spend the time optimizing the power supply of this part of the product. This is cheap. It doesn't use a lot of power, thankfully, but it doesn't use it very efficiently. I did go ahead and test this on 230 volts and 50 hertz as well, and the numbers are worse. I see opportunity for a USB adapter to replace this. It is 5 volts DC, so no special trigger required. Time to move on to the system itself and the bulbs. The bridge, or hub system, uses about 1.65 watts all the time, while also having very low power quality. This could have been done better. For the price, I do expect a little better than this. The bulbs themselves, however, look fairly decent. The idle power consumption of one bulb is 0.18 watts. This is acceptable for a single bulb, but if you have a whole lot of these bulbs, this can start to add up. As you can see, the THD of the bulb is highlighted in green, and the lower this number, the better the AC power is being used, and in all states, this stays nice and low. This is impressive power supply design. The power factor, which ideally would be 1, meaning the AC power is again being used in the most effective way possible, in all but the idle states is also on the higher side, so this is doing some tricks to keep the power quality quite high in most of the modes. There isn't much to complain about beyond the bridge power supply. When we take a look at the power graphs for this bulb, we can see that the wave shapes are not bad for all the full power and off modes. The current waveform looks fairly close to a sine wave, the same shape as the yellow waveform. For a power supply using only 8 watts, this is a good achievement. When we look at the dimmed states, the graphs do a good job of keeping their form. So this bulb is not acting like a normal switching power supply during the dimming state, keeping noise low and power quality high. This is great. Let's do a quick comparison of the idle power with a few other options. So first, the Philips system, as I have it, would use about $3 per year, doing just nothing if you left it plugged in. Compare this with the IKEA system, that's about 30 cents. And a dumb light switch would use 0 power. That couple of watts of power consumption is the price you pay for convenience. In comparison to other bulbs from Philips, this bulb isn't looking bad. And it's now the second smart bulb, and it takes the top spot in that category. Its performance is better than some of the cheaper bulbs and not as good as the top of the class if you compare it with non-smart bulbs. Okay, I want to run down some advantages of this light. First, it has flicker-free light. The camera is especially good at picking up flickering LEDs, so I didn't see anything there or by eye. Next, the bulbs are bright. This is an obvious one, but I have seen claims on bulbs that they obviously were shifting the numbers a bit. This one seems like it's probably pretty accurate. I don't have an integrating sphere, so I can't exactly confirm this. The advanced color mixing and app control makes this easy to use and set up. The hub system allows you to pair up to 50 lights. I think this limitation could be higher, but 50 is a good starting point. I'm curious if you add more hubs if you can get more bulbs. The power quality from the bulbs, at least, is very good. This means the bulbs use AC power very effectively and efficiently. This might not seem like a major advantage, but an Ethernet port on the bridge is very important. It makes it a lot easier to set up than trying to pair wireless devices and networks. This never goes well, so a great inclusion to see the Ethernet port. The application is well developed and relatively easy to use. Okay, some disadvantages. The high idle power consumption. This will really start to add up if you have a lot of these bulbs. The bridge makes sense, but the power adapter that comes with it is safe but cheap for a product of this grade. I'd like to see that power supply technology in the bulb applied to that small power adapter as well. Another disadvantage is the long setup process. Lots of asks. Is it okay to steal your information? Is it okay to turn on the light bulb? Can we please steal your information? You know, the usual. At least there is some transparency here, and the user license agreement was not that bad. The button was confusing. The controls were hidden in the settings menu, and it should just be treated like another light bulb device. No indication that the hub found the button either. And finally, the cost. The kit is expensive for color bulbs. There are a few other options to get started for a little less money, but a per bulb cost puts this as some of the most expensive light bulbs out there. These are nice, so if that cost is going into good app development and a long service lifetime, that is fine, but it is still a disadvantage over competitors. This app has some themes that you can select, and it will set your bulbs up into different conditions. I played with these for a few minutes. I found the Osaka theme amusing. A guy smoking a cigarette and apparently a beer company from Rochester, New York. Yep, nothing to see here. Okay, so I tested this IKEA bulb a little while back, and it used to have a cap, and it got torn to shreds, and now it's a perfectly safe exposed mains light bulb. I have seen a few claims that this bulb can connect to the Philips Hue system, so it is one of the things I wanted to try. So I will turn on the bulb and then go into the app and click Find Bulbs. I was fully expecting this, and it looks like it didn't find it. I think the bulb has to be reset, so let's try that. This requires turning the power on and off 8 times. So after doing that, the results is still the same. No connection. I did a little digging, and apparently the bulb needs a firmware update, which has to be done through the IKEA hub and app. So to connect to this Philips system, you need the IKEA system. That's rubbish. Unfortunately, this is the typical findings from smart home systems. The Philips Hue system is a very refined system for smart LED lighting. The bulbs are very functional and respond to the phone app easily. The RGB and multiple white light colors are great. Very easy to access and change the settings. The hub with its Ethernet port means it's easy to set up, and after saying I agree 8 times and rejecting the track everything I do and push notifications, I was up and running. I didn't get into any advanced functionality, but I was able to get everything working and of course get into what I do on this channel, detailed power measurements. It looks like the Philips Hue system oversells the wattage on the bulbs a little bit. That is okay, the number on the box is a maximum. I can't check the lumens of the bulbs, but it did seem quite bright in the white mode. The color modes are a lot less bright. The green, red, and blue full colors are nowhere near the full brightness claim. All parts of the system had UL safety listings for the US and Canada markets. This power adapter has a safety listing covering all different parts of the world. The bulbs are 120 volt only, but the hub or bridge is universal and is a prime candidate to replace that awful power adapter with something else. In terms of the idle power, the system doesn't seem terrible. The convenience of smart bulbs will cost you about $3 a year to have 3 bulbs. It doesn't seem like much, but my whole house would be $30 a year just for idle power. That's one house. In the EU, the cost number is likely 3 to 4 times this in early 2023. Also, I'd expect the idle consumption to be worse at 230 volts and 50 hertz. So that's about it. The Philips Hue light system, highly adjustable, flicker-free light. I like it, and I'll probably be setting up this system in some capacity for general use. I'll set it up on a power switch though, so the idle isn't always ticking away my energy meter. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Do you think it's the perfect LED bulb? There will be some affiliate links in the description to each of these products if you want to help out the channel. Thanks for watching. Next week, I will be looking at some kind of power adapter again. I haven't decided which one yet. There's a calendar on the website of upcoming content, so check it out. And as always, if you have suggestions, leave them down in the comments below. See you then. Thanks again. Goodbye.